Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's marketing education webinar. Today, we're going to be focusing on the topic of lecture talks. Why are we choosing today the topic of lecture talks? Because there's been a lot of LCs that are actually doing lecture talks currently, and we want to make sure that your lecture talks are being as efficient as possible so you can really get all those contacts and then later on approvals through the lecture talks and the physical marketing activity. So I will go to the presenter mode of this presentation, and we're going to be going step by step through this tutorial, and then I will be explaining you as well a little bit what is important when it comes to the visual part of a lecture talk. So today, that's me, your MCVP Digital Marketing, Noel. As you know, I've been supporting Buba when it comes to marketing education and support for local level. So if there is any time that you need any support or you want any feedback to info sessions or lecture talks that you're doing, you can always send me your content and I can feedback you if you need that and if you want that. So just to do a fresh refreshment about what we have been talking, and it's the offline marketing. So as you know, in the marketing guidelines that we're launching in January, we define like a couple of marketing activities that you can do at offline level, so meaning physically at your local committees. One of those, and like it's info stands, lecture talks, marketing stands, info sessions, events, and then like using the promotion materials for that. But today we're going to be focusing on the topic of lecture talks. So before we even continue, this is a strong reminder from myself, and also for sure Buba will agree with me, that there is 4 things that you should know before doing any type of offline promotion, and these are things that you need to make sure that you have, okay? Because then they can save you a lot of like inefficient like ways of doing physical marketing, and you can make sure that the content that you are delivering is qualitative. Good. So first point is you have to have ISEC knowledge. So it's important for you to be able to present the organization and what we're doing in the organization in a correct way. We don't want people to be telling things wrongly about the organization as that we are a travel agency, or like phrase it in a way that the other people would understand that it's a travel agency. So this is really, really important, because if people ask you like, okay, what is ISEC and what are you actually doing, guys, you need to make sure that you are responding correctly and in a really like, secure way and secure of yourself way. So this leaves a good impression on the customer. And you also have to have a proper product knowledge. Obviously, you're selling to your customers, so you need to make sure that that you have the good knowledge and that you're selling the products correctly, that you know the prices, that you know the length of the projects, and all these types of information regarding it. And then you have that you are proud to sell and promote ISEC products. This is really important. If there is a way, or there is that day you're feeling bad, or that day you don't feel like ISEC is the best thing in the world, I would not recommend you to go out and do physical promotion. Why? Because people can sense your emotions, and they can sense that probably you are in that moment not really like happy about it, and then if you don't feel and you don't connect to the purpose of it and the products you're selling, obviously you will not be able to sell them properly. And the last one, you're able to communicate the value proposition. So this is connected to the product knowledge. So basically, it's like that you understand what is our products offering to young people in France. So then you get able to like trigger those emotions on the people for them to go and purchase your product. Good. So these are the 4 things you should know before doing any offline promotion. If you feel that you are missing any type of knowledge, please make sure to contact your team leader. If you're a member, as a team leader, you contact your VP. If as a member you don't have a team leader, you just contact directly your VP, or just ask your MCVPs for support on this. Okay? Good. So as I was talking about, we're gonna focus today on the topic of lecture talks, or also class shouts, another way of calling them. And what is a lecture talk? And in this type, basically a lecture talk is a short presentation that you can do during a class or before a class, before a lecture. And in this presentation, you have the opportunity to grab the attention of people towards or like the audience and guide them to a specific call to action regarding your product. This means again that it's a short presentation where you do like one like grabbing moment and a call to action for your audience and the customers that you have in front of you to go and purchase your product. So there are 2 points that you need to take into consideration. And the first one is that you need to identify the members who you believe that are good at doing lecture talks of any kind of public speaking. Why this? Well, like it's not easy to go and stand in front of a class, in front of an audience and present this. And of course, we want people to improve and to learn. But if you feel that the person is not ready yet to go and stand in front of it, I would recommend you not to do it because you will be wasting effort and time, and you could be missing some opportunities of having leads for your numbers. Therefore, I would also recommend you that you always let your members or you make your members practice public speaking, making them simulation about lecture talks or simulation of how to talk with people at InfoStats, for example, as well. And lecture talks, they are super important from grabbing attention and leading your customer to the next step. So it's important that you have a clear call to action and a follow-up plan. So it means that you guided people to the event, but you need to make sure like that they know what, like, okay, you give them the call to action, come to the event, and they know that they have to do it and what will be the plan after it. This needs to be super clear for them too. Good. The next point is the structure of a lecture talk. Normally there is different flows that you can use during a lecture talk or a class shot, but it's important that there is like different points that we will be discussing to make sure that you capture the audience attention in a good way, and then you don't make them like from the beginning lose them, or for example spend too much time presenting and you will like completely lose them by the end of the presentation. So there is a proposal flow that we have created from the national side, which from experience has worked really well. And we hope that this is something that is clear to you and you understand why we're doing it. And I'm gonna be explaining to you step by step. So the first one is the introduction. So there is different options for you how to start your lecture talk. So there is the option 1 where you introduce yourself or who you are, like my name is Noel Girola and I am a member of this organization, but at the same time I'm a student here, blah, blah, blah. And what are you doing? And there is super important that you are not starting the presentation with any big statements about the organization, like, oh my God, this is the vision, you know, peace and fulfillment of human potential, because people already with that, you're going to lose them. Or maybe like you can, like, instead of doing that, you can use humor, like a small joke or something like that, and practical examples to connect and capture the attention of the people at the beginning. And this one is the one that I am connecting to option 2, because the option 1, you can start super simple with who you are and your connection to the organization and then follow through to the next step. But in option 2 is introducing AIESEC or the topic that you're going to be talking about with a video that is related to the product that you will be presenting or related to a topic and that you are talking about in that day. This is super simple, but when you are doing a video, it make sure that it's not a video that surpasses 1 minute or 1 minute 30, because it is like scientifically proved that young people might normally lose their attention, or like attention span goes from 30 seconds to 1 minute 30. So if there's something that is longer than that, you might lose your audience already. So try to see that the videos that you're choosing, first of all, are qualitative videos related to the product of AIESEC, and they're branded, of course, and that they are not longer than 1 minute 30, so you don't lose your audience right at the beginning of the presentation. Good, that is to the introduction, and then we'll move to a part of the first part, no? Like the part where you are going to introduce general information about AIESEC. So what is important here? You need to have a super simple, catchy, and to the point pitch about what is AIESEC doing, and like the general presentation of the products of AIESEC. Not going much into detail about, yes, like this is this organization and we are doing this and these are our national partners, global partners, Lingale partners, and also don't go that much into detail into the general presentation of your products. You will be seeing this more in detail in the lecture talk template that we have created for you, but just for you to understand this as well, okay? And then in the second part, we move to the product presentation. So depending on the class that you're going to, the audience that you're choosing, you will have to define one product that you are targeting to that audience. If you're going to a lecture talk of a language degree people, you will be focusing mostly on GV projects that are related to education, as you know maybe that these people are focused on volunteering based on your research and understanding of this. You will not go and decide, oh, I'm going to present to these people GE as well, just because you want to present it. No, you need to make sure that you specify and you define one product that you will be targeting to these people. So you make sure that you're getting the people that are really interested in the product, and you focus on the information of that. So you go into more specific presentation of the product that you have chosen, and you give like already examples of opportunities that they can go to. Okay? Then, we move to the third part, which is the process. So we created a super simple visually part of how to explain the process of applying for an opportunity so people understand it, because a lot of times like we go and we present a lecture talk, but we don't really go much into detail for the people on how to actually go and apply. So this is why we created a simple part of the process, and this is like how it will go further, and like it's just super simple slides for this step by step. And then at the final part you have the next steps, which goes and becomes like the part of the call to action. So what is the one call to action that you want to leave the audience with? So it can be apply on AIESEC.org right away, as we just presented during the process part. Go to our info session that is happening in 3 days, or we are going to be having info sessions the whole week, so come and pass by to get more information about us. But so this is really important. You need to define that at the end of your lecture talk. And as I was mentioning, like at the beginning, like a lecture talk is a short presentation. So all this needs to be fitting between 5 to 10 minutes, okay? No longer than that, because first of all, you're taking time of the professor at the beginning, and if you continue and you elaborate on the things more and more and more, you will be taking away already the curiosity and the attention, like the curiosity of your audience, and they will not be willing to move one step further or maybe research a little bit more about the organization. Because if you still leave them with some question marks and you invite them to an info session or to an info stand, then they will come to you because they are still having questions and they will still would like to get more information. Okay, so this is the part of the structure. Then we would like to go to some do's and don'ts, which is really important. And I want to again emphasize on the goal of a lecture talk is to present briefly AIESEC and to guide your customers to the next steps. So this is why we define some points that you need to be taken into consideration when you're doing your lecture talk. So a lecture talk is not there to present AIESEC from beginning to the end. AIESEC was founded in 1948, and we did this and this and that, and we have these partners, we have these local partners, national partners, global partners. We have been doing, these are all our initiatives, You need to really define the content that you will be targeting to your audience. Because if you present everything to all of them, they will not be able to decide what exactly they want to purchase. This is, as we have said, like you need to define your target audience. And if you know that your target audience is, in this case, in this lecture talk, is people that you want to send on GV, then you will focus on the product of GV, and instead the information you are providing in the lecture talk is connected to GV, okay? And at the end of the day, you, as I was mentioning, you still want to leave your audience with some questions. You want to leave them with curiosity. So their goal will be then after that, they come to you for more information and you spark their interest to actually proceed in the process of purchasing your product. Okay, that's the first point. And then the second point is that you need to keep the presentation, the PowerPoint in this case, super simple. If you're using a PowerPoint, if you're not using a PowerPoint, I would actually recommend you to take one, because then people can connect visually to what you are saying. If you are talking about testimonials and stuff like that, but you don't have pictures to show, it might be a little bit complicated. So it needs to be important that there is not much text on the slides. This you can find in any tutorial about how to do PowerPoint presentations. They will always advise you not to put much text, because if you are putting the text that you have on that you are saying on the slide, people will not listen to you. They will just read, and maybe they will miss some information that you might have said and not put it on the PPT. And slides like too much images, too much text, too much graphics, etc. Make sure that you keep your presentation simple. So as that, we will advise you to follow the template that we're providing from the national team. You can check it out and adapt it a little bit, but try to keep it as simple as it is built up. Okay? And to the third point, never present all the products. This is I was mentioning to you, make sure that you choose the product that you will presenting based on your audience in the lecture that you're going. Otherwise, you might be getting a lot of signups, but it will not be targeted to something specifically, and then this might not boost your conversion rates. Okay? Fourth point, if you're adding any type of extra information, think twice if this information is relevant to the customer that you are presenting to, and if this information is actually going to make them purchase your product or be willing to go on a GV project or a GE project or a GT project. Example, mentioning national or global partners, is that really relevant for students that are in a GV target? Maybe not. It can be relevant for example, GT, people that you're promoting to. For example, you can present the global partners and you can emphasize there is the possibility of you actually also being able to have an internship with one of our global partners that are PwC, DHL, Electrolux, International SOS, This might trigger the curiosity of the people that are interested in going in GT. But is that really relevant for someone that wants to go on GV? Not really. So make sure that you are really thinking twice what kind of extra information you're adding to your presentation. Good. And fifth point, do not use IC internal language or abbreviations. It's not common for people to know what GV means, VP, TL, etc. So you need to make sure that you are not using any abbreviations, which sometimes, because we're used to using our ISEC language, might slide through, but this is then a matter of practicing. As well, the concept of outgoing exchange is not common among external people from ISEC. So try to define a way to describe outgoing exchange in a different way. We have provided you here with some examples as customer service, or student relations. Okay, because then people would relate more to you and they will understand, they are the ones that are supporting the students to go abroad. But outgoing exchange might not be something that they will be able to connect to if you are presenting your role as that. Okay? And last point, do not go to a presentation without practicing before your pitch and the flow of your presentation. You don't want to get stuck or like you forget something and then you want to go back and do it in front of the audience, because then this might leave not a good image towards yourself and towards the presentation, and you will lose your audience then right away. Okay, so these were the do's and don'ts. We hope they're clear, they're really detailedly described on this PPT, so you can always go back and read them. And if you have questions, as we mentioned before, you can always approach us, your MCVPs, to get more information about it. Good. Then now we are going to present, or I'm going to present you real quick, the lecture talk presentation template that we have created. I'm going to go really slow through it so you understand it and you know what I mean by all that. So real quick, just a second for you to see it. I'm going to stop here and going to share my screen right away with you guys in a second. LP tutorial. Good. Just a second. Well, and here we go. So, as I was mentioning to you at the beginning, you can grab the attention of your audience by putting a video, or if you want to present yourself, you can add right away here your picture, your name, your cell phone, and what is your position in AIESEC. Okay? But at the beginning, it's always good to start either with your self-presentation or with something visually to grab people's attention. Then we created super simple. What is AIESEC? Even animated for you. It's the world's largest student-run organization because that is the definition of what AIESEC is. Then for you not to have to go that much into detail in what we're doing and also putting our mission, which is peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential, which you already now can be like, what? Exactly. Don't use that when you're going to your lecture talk because people might not understand. We created this simple site where you're explaining what are we doing. So what we're doing is we're creating practical experience to develop their leadership skills. And we do this in cross-cultural exchanges, meaning that we want to send people abroad and have this practical experience in an international environment. And as we mentioned in leadership skills, we want people to be able to empower others, be solution-oriented, and well citizens. You see, in 5 to 10 seconds, explain the AIESEC way, super simple. Then we have the part of the programs. We have 3 programs in AIESEC as the practical experiences that we were presenting to you. We have Global Entrepreneur, Global Volunteer, and Global Talent. And here you have some general presentations of each of them where you can define Global Entrepreneur is an internship at a startup. You don't go more into detail because you have it visually there. So they can read volunteer is a volunteer project, GT is a professional internship abroad in a company. Not much into detail. But then you say, today, guys, we actually like to present you a bit more our Global Volunteer Project. What is our Global Volunteer Project? Our Global Volunteer Project is a volunteer project where we want you guys to have the opportunity to contribute to the SDGs, be able to develop yourself, and have an impact on society. Things to take into consideration, accommodation will be provided to you, and depending on the project that you're choosing, you also have food provided. But I mentioned to you before the Sustainable Development Goals. So, as I was talking to you, our products are aligned to one of the Sustainable Development Goals that you can see here that were specified by the United Nations in 2015. And here is also the slide with the SDGs in English, in French, if you decide to put the presentation in French. Present here projects where you can define the name of the project, the name of the NGO and school, city and country where the project will be, the duration of the project, the deadline to apply to create a sense of urgency to your audience, requirements for the opportunity, if there is any, and the SDG that the project is contributing to. In this template, you can just add the text simply in the PowerPoint version, so you just don't need to do much, and you can exchange the picture in the background, so you have a picture that is aligned to the country that you are promoting. This is how it would look like if you choose it for an SDG. If you're focusing on your presentation for GB, if you're doing a lecture talk for GT, we did as well the same template for you with the template for the opportunities, and the same goes for Global Entrepreneur and with the template for it. But as I was mentioning, make sure that you are targeting only one product for the audience where you're going. Okay? Good. Then we talked about explaining the process to the people, no? So then we have slides related to the process, and it's really important. It's really simple. First of all, you tell them you need to go to AIESEC.org. This is how the first page or the landing page looks like. For you to be able to sign up, you can see the bottom in the upper part that says sign up. You click on it, and you are able to register for free on our platform. And by registering for free, you will come into our database, and we will able to contact you to support you or contact you to send you any project that will be related to your interests. After that, right away that you register for free, you can directly search for projects on the platform. And if you find a project that you really like the Planet Heroes in Brazil, you can apply directly and then you just get ready to go on exchange. So as you can see, it's super visually, simply explain how the process works, and you're also showing them like exactly how it looks on the website, no? So this is really good for them to see it. It's super simple, not much of text, not much of like overload of things. And then for the next steps, we also created for you like a set of template of things that you can be mentioning depending on what are the actions that you're having. So always have the call to action for people to go to isec.org or visit our Facebook page if you want them to get your, if you're promoting a Facebook event, for them to see the Facebook event on the ISEC in France Facebook page, to tell them to join you at your info event that will be happening on Friday, for example. So you can put there as well the information of the time and location. Or if you're having our info stand, you tell them as well, visit us our info stand that is at the forum, and we're gonna be there from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., for example. And this is, of course, you given a space of questions if anyone wants to ask questions. And then you have the contact sheet to close up again, no? My name, my phone, and my email. No much information. So then all the people that were interested from that lecture talk will contact you. Then you will know if your lecture talk was good and successful, no? Because the people are following up on you. And you can put your picture. We use here an example of our dear MCVP CXY, Buba. So please make sure to change your picture. I don't want you to go to the lecture talk and be using Buba's picture, no? And then, of course, a good thank you for the to the audience for paying attention to your presentation and for listening, and also a thank you to the professor for giving you the opportunity of coming to in front of his class or her class. So this is basically the flow of the lecture presentation that you should be having. It's super simple, it's targeted, you're not providing any overload of information, you're providing the information that your customer has to have for them to be able to purchase the product. Then, of course, if you're doing a lecture talk for membership, you can add more information because the people need to know the information to join the organization. So you should provide more information about it. But when you are selling the products, it's not necessary. Okay? Good. So we're going to exit real quick again to go back to the presentation of the LP tutorial. Just a second. And there we go. So that was the lecture talk presentation. And now I just want to close up with going through some logistic checklists and then later on presentation checklist. So what is important? As you cannot make people during the presentation apply directly on isec.org and like, hey, open your laptops and apply, we recommend you to have a printed contact sheet where students can fill out their basic details like name, email, contact, background, like so you know which one, which class they are, so you can follow up later. But what is important is that you should not pass this contact sheet at the beginning of your presentation, because then you will have your audience focusing on filling out the sheet and not listening to you and to the presentation you're doing. So I would recommend you when you close up the presentation that you mention, we have this contact sheet, so if you want to have more information, I will pass it by and I will be waiting out the outside when you will finish filling it out. Okay? So just super simple. Then have a PPT ready. As I was mentioning, it's always good to have visual supporting you throughout your presentation. So get a PPT ready that of course has to be brand aligned, no? And you have the template now, and you will have a folder where you can access it. And then as well, prepare an email asking a professor for permission to do the lecture talk, and send a thank you email after when they answer, allowing you to do it, and send an email after the presentation to thank you again for giving you this opportunity. And make sure that when you are creating this email that you are mentioning why this presentation is useful for the audience or the students of his class. If it's language people, it's like they will have, you present, obviously you present, yeah, we're ISEC and I would like to present our volunteering projects to your students, because I believe that your students, as they are studying languages, they can have an opportunity here during the summer to improve their language skills, but they are educating and improving the quality education of other countries. So like if you emphasize like this, don't go and present whole ISEC, blah, 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 because then it's a huge email, and then the teachers might already not read it. So make sure that you keep it simple as way, also in the presentation that you are sending, in the email that you are sending to the teacher, okay? And as well, be there 10 minutes before the class, before the presentation is supposed to start, because if there is any problems with the preparation or technical support, or you want to have a conversation with the professor, otherwise you will miss any time, no? And last one is lecture talk presentation checklist. So as I said, make sure that you plan your pitch and you practice your pitch really well before coming to the presentation. Do not go to a lecture talk or class talk without preparing properly in advance. And if you're sending a member, then you need to make sure that your member is well prepared and has done simulations and knows the knowledge, and like has the knowledge and knows the products really well, so there is no misconfusions and misunderstandings, okay? And then dress properly. You can take your LC t-shirt if it has the ISEC logo, or an ISEC t-shirt, or you can dress up business casual, okay? Then the other point, be open, smile, and be confident. You are cooler than the people that are sitting there because you have taken the opportunity of improving your public skills, and you have stood up to whatever fears, if you had fears of public speaking, to talk in front of this audience. So be open, smile, and be confident. And last point, thank your audience for their attention and the professor as well at the end, because if you leave a good impression on the professor, you will have the opportunity of come more often to present in front of his classes. Okay? So that was basically the information that we wanted to give to you for the lecture talks, based on what a lecture talk is, the pitch and the flow of your lecture talk. Then you saw the lecture talk template, and as well the tips at the end on how to manage the whole process of a lecture talk. And important, where to find the materials? You find them on bit.ly/lecture talk education. This link will be sent by your MCBP CXY, and you can find everything in there, also the link to this webinar video on YouTube. Okay? So that was all from my side, guys. I wish you a really nice day, and I hope that everything was clear. If you have any questions to the video or the content that was provided to you today, do not hesitate to contact me or Buba, and we'll be more than happy to answer to your questions. So that was all from my side. So thank you really much, and see you soon.